It is Thursday, November 14th, 2024. This is another edition of Baseball Today. That is my man, Trevor Plouffe. I am Chris Rose, producer Dan, along for the ride as well. And everybody in the world wants to know, did you ever fix your fly en route to the Monday night game between the Rams and the Dolphins? That was the big talk on social media.
Yeah, I did not fix it, and it wasn't my fly. It was like fly adjacent, so the zipper was fine. It was just like next to it. Some of the threading went out, and these are brand new pants, Chris. I don't know, man. Sometimes
Fly
when you're packing,
adjacent.
yeah. I didn't fix it. Tough game for me and the Rams on Monday night, but we'll be all right.
It's all right. The 4 hours that you got there early, and then the 3+ hour game, and then the probably 2-hour drive home. I'm sure you were just fine by the time you put your head on the pillow.
I was lubed up. I was lubed up that night. There's no doubt about it, Chris. Not gonna lie. Are you lubed up? Because I've never seen you wear an Angel's hat before.
Well, but there's reason, and we'll get to that momentarily. But we're not going to start there. We're going to start with the rumor mill, and that's always fun during the off season. We might have a few thousand of those coming up in our off season shows. A lot of people were out there. Passon was putting out a trade list. Jim Bowden in The Athletic. We're going to focus on his because the number one guy at the top of his list for an off-season trade was Vladimir Guerrero Jr. Do you think he goes? And if so, where?
I do not. I don't think he goes during the offseason. That doesn't mean that he can't be traded during the 2025 season. I think that the Blue Jays still want to get a deal done with this guy. And, he had obviously an incredible year last year, and he's a great player, a very young player. Do I think he's going to test free agency? Like, most likely he is. I don't, unless they really want him there and make it known that they want him there and kind of, pony up, if you will. I think he's going to test free agency. So if it comes to that, Chris, if, they go into this season next year and they're kind of where they were last year, which is middling, and they don't improve the roster during the off season, and things aren't looking right, I don't think there's a significant gap in package that they would get from dealing him now or during the year. So I think starting the season with him allows them to have a little bit more negotiating time. And then, again, I think because there is a deadline, I think the package might even be better when a team knows they're in the race, and this is exactly what they need to put them over the hump. So I don't really think there's that big of a difference. In fact, I think they might be able to get more for him at the deadline. So to answer your question, I do not think he goes in the offseason.
So a few things. He will be 26 when he hits free agency.
That's crazy.
It is crazy because it feels like he's been doing this forever. Here's the thing about the Blue Jays. They might say that they want him, and he might have a very good relationship with the front office and the city and enjoy his time there. All that stuff could be true. What do you think the highest contract they've ever given out is?
Put me on the spot. It's George Springer.
George Springer's correct. Do you know what that was for?
6 years, like 120.
Close. 6 for 150. Do you think that Vladimir Guerrero Jr., when he hits the market at age 26, is going to be anywhere near 150?
I don't, but talk to people in Toronto. All they ever talk about is how much money the Blue Jays have to spend. So,
so go spend it.
I mean, look, you can, if they sign Vladimir Guerrero Jr. to this long-term deal, he'll be the highest paid. You don't have to stop just because, you've only given out 150 before. If it's the right player, right time. I don't know if it's the right time for them. I don't know. It doesn't seem like they're set up, but he is 26 years old, man. And he's shown, I think he's shown, Chris, the ability to make life adjustments, make, dietary adjustments, everything to kind of like be the player that he wants to be. I mean, I'm in on Vlad Guerrero Jr. for like a long-term piece. I don't think this is a guy that's going to age as poorly as some people might think. I think he's got another 6 years that he's going to be banging the ball around at least.
Yeah. Well, listen, I was on them to trade him at the deadline. I was screaming for it to happen. Like, when you look at where he was and where the team was right at the deadline, let's say July 29th, okay, because that's right when it was, his OPS had climbed significantly even since the All-Star break. He was like in the middle of something like a 20-game hitting streak.
Yeah.
He was banging the ball all over the yard. He was over a 900 OPS, and the team stunk. At that point, they were 12.5 out of the division. They were still another 7 or 8 out of the wild card, but had a ton of teams to jump over. Things just were not working in Toronto. And so I was screaming for them to go trade him now when he's hot, when he's swinging a good bat, when he's 25 years old or whatever. And, while teams might see him as the difference maker down the stretch, and they'll get him for 2, pennant chases at the very least. But I would say right now, I would open it up and say, Vladdy, if you can find a team that will extend you, we'll end up doing a deal because they'll end up getting something better back. I mean, if you look at recent years of guys who are going into their walk year and get traded, there's 3 guys that come to mind. It's Francisco Lindor, it's Mookie Betts, and it's Paul Goldschmidt. And all those dudes were at the top of their game. And if you look at the best players they got back in those respective deals, it's Andres Gimenez, who's turned into a Platinum Award winner, but his bat is just okay for Cleveland. Connor Wong for Boston, and he's their starting catcher, and he's a solid player, but he ain't Mookie Betts. And Luke Weaver has ended up being the best player traded from St. Louis to Arizona, and how many different stops has it taken him to figure out to be what he is now? So
you're saying don't
they're
trade
screwed.
him?
I think they're screwed is what they are.
I don't know if they're screwed. I mean, to have a player like him on your team is a blessing. So, I think if you trade him, you signal the end of a lot of things in Toronto. They just redid that entire stadium. It's beautiful.
We got to stop with that thing. Got to stop with that thing. That's a 1-year wear off quickly. People are
I don't think it is. I don't think it is, Chris. I think you want to recoup the investment that you made into the park, and I think there's like a 3-year mark that you get from building a new stadium. I really do. I think people want to check it out. And again, if you take Vladdy out and then you don't replenish, not with prospects. Yeah, you might get some prospects. I'm talking about put a talented major league team on the field. You're not going to recoup that money. No one's going to come. Dude, the Twins were a shining example of that this year. Their attendance was way down after getting the farthest they've been in the playoffs in 2023. They didn't do anything to improve their roster, and the attendance was down. And it's a big part of how these teams operate. So I'm not in on them trading him, and I don't think they have to. And I think that they should try to extend him. They need somebody there that's like a stable face of the franchise type guy. Vladdy's surely that right now, and he can be for the foreseeable future. If you get rid of him, where are you at?
I get it, but I'm going to echo the same thing I said in July. You either extend him right then, or you trade him right then, which they didn't. And I would say the same thing right now. I still think you trade him. Because maybe
up to him. Extension's up to him.
Well, the extension
not to the team anymore. Yeah.
Yes, the extension is. But wouldn't you rather have him than? And I know you're giving up assets to get Vladdy, as opposed to just signing Pete Alonso or signing Christian Walker. Don't you think Vladdy is the better play for a long-term deal?
Yeah, I mean, okay, so long-term, yes. If I was to pick the 3 of those guys, I think I'd go Christian Walker right now because it would only be 2 years. I think it would be less money, and I think that the defense is great. So,
okay,
I don't know. I mean, Vladdy's an absolute. I mean, he had a 940 OPS this year, dude. Absolute difference maker with the bat. So, I don't know, man. It's a difficult situation that they're in, but also, again, it's good to have a guy like this.
Yeah. Let us know what you guys would be thinking. Leave a comment on this one, please do. There will be plenty of comments for Blitzball Battle 5. The season continues later tonight. We will see you in the chat, 7:30 p.m. Eastern. Here's an appetizer. We continued regular season action of Blitzball Battle 5. Pair of 1-0 teams are going at it. Love Yas and We Got Ice. There are 2 huge questions. Let's start first of all with We Got Ice. Is Jack Doyle healthy?
I think so. I think he answered some of those questions yesterday. It was an elbow issue, but he says he's fine when he's throwing. I'm not sure when else you're going to feel your elbow, But the question for me now goes to Love Yous. Nicky Cass kind of went missing until the last swing of the game, so I'd like to see him get started a little earlier.
Well, rumor has it he's going to give us a different look for the game. You'll have to tune in later today to see what that is. I think I'll go with Love Yous today. I loved what I saw out of Dalton Feely, particularly on the mound.
There was a confidence level to Dalton that I've never seen before. Can that carry over to today? I think so. He's emotional, but yesterday he was locked in. I picked We Got Ice to win the whole thing, so I have to pick We Got Ice.
Tune in for the fun later today. Blitzball Battle 5. Been fun so far. We appreciate everybody hanging out. The chat's been great, and the numbers have been good so far, so keep it up. Keep hitting that thumbs up sign, too, for us. All right, we continue on. ESPN's Jeff Passan says the Red Sox latest team to throw their hat into the Juan Soto sweepstakes. Blue Jays, Yankees, and Mets all have meetings scheduled with the top free agent. Now, we're assuming that Soto's deal will start with either a 5 or a 6, and that's not like 50,000 or 60,000. It's a
or
little bit
50
more
million,
than that. Right?
Or
good
60
point.
million.
Can you make the argument that whatever team ends up actually signing him would be better served saying, we love you, but we're going to go a different direction. We're going to use the money on 3 or 4 different players?
I think it depends on the team. I think you could make that argument for most teams, yes. I think that spreading that money around, bringing in guys that would benefit most teams more than signing Juan Soto. But I do think there are certain teams that he puts them, I guess, over the top where, I mean, there's not a lot of guys out there. You can spread it all that you want. I mean, even if you sign 3 guys who were like 3 WAR players, you're still barely getting to, where Juan Soto is. So I think the difference maker that he can be is good for certain teams. I mean, how many guys are guaranteed to have a 400 OBP, a 900 plus OPS? Like, he is a difference maker. Teams have to game plan around him. Offensively, he's everything. I know that the defensive stuff isn't there, and you could talk about base running and all those things. Although I feel like he played okay defensively. I know he's not going to get to a lot of balls, but like, he played okay out there.
He was a Gold Glove nominee. Not that shit means anything to me.
So, okay. Again, I think certain teams, no, they're better served going after a guy like Juan Soto. Like, I really do believe the Yankees need to get this guy. And I think, the Dodgers are better served bringing him in than bringing in 3 other players. I don't think the Dodgers need that depth. I don't necessarily think, the Yankees kind of need the depth, but they have put a lot into bringing him back. So I would say the majority of teams, yes, you could make that argument where you could spend it and probably get, you can get a high leverage arm, which whether that's probably like a 2 starter, maybe not a 1 guy, and then another bat that's going to make an impact. So you get 2 guys, 2 really good players for the price of Juan Soto. So for most teams, that's better. But for, the teams that it's going to put over the top, I would say that Soto is the guy there.
Like, would you rather
I think that makes sense.
Would you rather have Corbin Burns and Pete Alonso together? Would you rather have Corbin Burns and Alex Bregman? Here's part of
so if you put it that way, Chris, I don't think so. I think I'd want Juan Soto on my team because he is that much better at one spot than anybody else.
Okay, so here's where my business brain jumps into the problem. When I think you're paying a guy that amount of money, he has to be a game changer, number 1, at the box office, and number 2, if not reversed here, business-wise. When Shohei Ohtani signed for $700 million, I was like, the Dodgers are going to recoup that in a second. And we kept hearing within the first 6 weeks that he was there, the number of business deals that the Dodgers were doing with Japanese companies now because of Shohei Ohtani.
Mm-hmm.
And he hadn't even set foot on a diamond to that point. So whatever he gave you on top of the business side was going to be great. We knew that. We didn't know necessarily it was going to lead to a World Series ring, but we knew that the business opportunities were going to be there. And now, who knows what it's going to look like that he's had so much success and late next week is going to win another MVP most likely. Juan Soto, as great a player as he is, and this is to no fault of his, because I think there's very few guys in baseball that unfortunately move the needle, does not do that on the business side. So if you're going to get and give somebody $500 million, I damn well better make sure that it's more than just winning games, because I can't have him guarantee me a ring.
Yeah, that's what it is. You have to say this guy's going to win me a World Series.
You can't do that. It's so hard to do.
Agreed. But again, I think for the few teams at the top that it will put them over the top and really, give them a better chance, I think he's worth it. I don't know, man. He's such a game changer.
I know he is.
At the plate, he really is, and he's that much better than other people. Like he really is, dude. Like his at-bats are nuts. He's going to be consistent. He's not like a guy that slumps. He is a guy that's going to be as consistent as possible at the plate. I get what you're saying business-wise. I agree. I mean, I don't know what the Dominican exports are. Presidente beer, I think, is already in the Yankees clubhouse. I'm pretty sure I've had a few of those showing up there. So I get that he's not going to have the massive draw that, a Japanese star would as far as international income. But I don't know. Even if he's, you look at the stats and you could say, oh, this guy, he had a 900 OPS, but like 41 homers, 109 driven in.
I'm not arguing the ball player.
419 OBP, slugging 570. Like that little increment that he's better means so much.
I understand it. And I'm not saying like every team would be significantly better with him hitting the 2-hole. 1,000%. But I'm just saying.
What's crazy for him? What's a crazy AAV that you wouldn't do for him? Like is 40 as high as you'll go with him a year?
That's so much money.
I'm trying to think okay. Let's see what 40 times 12 is 480. So it's not. So it's going to be more than that?
It's going to be more than that. It's going to be. I mean, if you get into the 5s and 6s, obviously it is.
14 years times 4 is 560.
Yeah.
So 14 at 40 a year gets the job done, you think?
That's ridiculous.
Dan Work in our ear is saying 40 is way too little.
Yeah, well, it's going to be for a while.
It could be. I think that's AAV. Actually. That's average.
Right.
I'm saying it could be backloaded. Most likely, it should be front loaded if you're a smart team. But
I think so too. It's crazy. It's crazy.
What did you answer the question?
Yeah, I think I would. I think I would go a different direction. I just think I would, just because of the business side of it, and maybe I'm screwing myself out of a possible World Series championship, but it's not like I wouldn't spend the money. I would just spend it differently.
Okay, so but you're not getting so I know we don't want to go too long on this, but you said Corbin Burnes and Alex Bregman, they're not going to be 40. That's more than $45 million. Corbin Burnes and Alex Bregman are going to be 50 at least.
Yeah, but how much do you think their total value would be? Do you think that? So let's just play that game. The two of them together, what they end up getting. Is it?
Well, it's going to be less years because they're older.
Yeah.
But I think AAV is a better way to go about this.
I don't know, because at some point, Soto is not going to be Soto, and you're still going to be paying him like he's Soto.
Unless
that's dangerous too.
I don't know.
Some guys' salary at the end of their career does go down. We've seen that happen.
Yeah.
It does happen.
It's an interesting thought process, and I think a lot of people would agree with you on it.
Today's episode, Baseball Today, brought to you by Manscaped.com. It is the global men's lifestyle brand, once again setting the bar higher in men's grooming standards. Holidays are right around the corner. You're probably thinking somebody in our family, somebody I love, I need to get them something. Well, it's the perfect time to treat them to this something special. It is Manscaped's latest release, the Chairman Pro Package. It's an all-in-one set, includes everything you need for the perfect shave, making it the ideal gift for those looking to elevate their grooming game this season. It actually has skin-safe 4-blade foil for a super close shave and the skin-safe stubble trimmer for when you want to keep a bit of that rugged look as well. On top of that, it's waterproof. Use it in the shower, making your grooming routine easier and cleaner as well. I hate it when you get that nasty sink going. You know what I'm talking about? So if you're looking for the perfect gift this holiday season, the Chairman Pro Package, it is the way to go. Head on over to manscaped.com. Use that promo code JOHNBOY for 20% off your order plus free shipping. That's 20% off with the promo code JOHNBOY and free shipping. happy grooming.
I just did Manscaped.
Yeah? You look nice.
Yeah, I have two. I have one for my face and one for the other parts of my body, and I have the nose hair trimmer. I'm just Olivia likes. She says I have good hygiene.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's nice.
Okay.
Michelle doesn't get within 50 feet of me, so I don't know if that's a court order thing or something. I don't know. Angels, here's why I'm wearing the hat. They have been the busiest team so far. They already traded for Soler. They signed Kyle Hendricks to a 1-year deal, and now most recently, Travis d'Arnaud has been brought in on a 2-year deal. Thumbs up, or you don't get the strategy.
I'm thumbs up big time on this. This is kind of like a longer thought idea here. That doesn't make any sense. But so for the Angels, what are you going to do? Are you just going to wallow in misery for years to come? Like, eventually you have to have some sort of culture being born in your organization. And this is why I don't like the rebuilding phrase. And you can't necessarily do it as much as you could before because of the draft lottery and all these things. But if you go into a void where it's just like, hey, let's just let the young kids play. Like, what's your identity then? What's the culture like? What's your organizational philosophy? You have to have guys that have been there and done that to stabilize and give you some sort of identity and philosophy. Like, you need major league players at the major league level to teach guys coming up how to act and what to do and you know, how to behave in certain situations and what their work ethic has to be like. If you don't have that, if you're just going through and you're letting the guys come up from the minor leagues and there's nobody there to kind of like usher them in, it's not going to be good. Like you have to you have to have the perfect guys drafted to be able to do that. It's very hard to draft like that. You're going to miss a lot. So when a team is in to where the Angels are, like they're not like, they think they can compete soon-ish. I don't think it's going to be next year. But you have to bring in guys like a Travis d'Arnaud. I think he's great for that team. You know, he's been around winners before. He's a smart guy. The catchers are able to be kind of like captains of the teams. So, like, bringing guys in like this, it just allows you to kind of like have your future see like just allows them to see how they're supposed to act. It's almost more, you know, we bring in veteran presence to a lot of teams, but when you're where the Angels are at, I think you need it more than ever. So I like moves like this. Like these are guys that have been through it, have had success, and they're not costing a ton of money, and it just improves your organization. It gives you somewhat of an identity, and it just teaches the skills that you need to be successful at the big level. So I like the moves. I really do.
Well, they're coming off a franchise worst 99 losses. Okay, it's ugly right now. It's not good. They do have some young guys up that are interesting. One of them is the guy who's going to be playing in front of d'Arnaud, and that is Logan O'Hoppe. And I loved hearing this anecdote from Wednesday that d'Arnaud called O'Hoppe before he signed, and he said, I want you to be the best catcher in the history of this franchise. Like, that's my job. You don't have to worry about anything else. I'll play when they tell me to play, but you are the dude, and I'm here to help take you to another level. d'Arnaud has actually played pretty well over the last several years.
Yeah.
Like, he can hit some bombs.
In different roles. Yeah.
Totally. I mean, he can be that chameleon. Kyle Hendricks, there's no risk. It's 1 year, $2.5 million. Yes, the guy had almost a 6 ERA, but you talked about it. Like, I had Jamison Tyon on like a month ago on the Rose rotation, and he couldn't say enough amazing things about just the person he is. And that's what he's there to give you. Yes. Now, they only had 2 guys that had more than 115 innings, so they're going to have to get some innings out of him. Hopefully, he's not going to get knocked all around the yard to the point where he can give you, 4 to 5 innings a start, but who knows what that's going to look like. So, yeah, I have no problem with what they're doing. The Soler deal, we know that he can mash. I still think that they're asking too much of Mike Trout. Like, why not have that guy DH more? Like, come on. So I didn't quite get the whole Soler trade, but the other ones I'm fine with. They're not going to be any better this year. They're probably going to lose 95 games, barring some other huge investments that they make in the free agent market. But you're right. Teach guys how to be pros. Every team needs them, and these two guys are really good.
Yeah,
I
it
don't
means
know
a
as
lot.
much about
I like
Soler
it.
in that area, but the other two guys, yeah. All right. Most clubs have been very, very quiet so far. Just in the beginning stages this offseason. Which team would you like to give a little bit of a pep talk to, if you will? Like, go out, get it going this offseason.
Yeah, so I'm going to give a whole division a pep talk, and it's the NL Central. Like, this is a storied division with teams that have, like, been in this game for a very, very long time that really have great fan bases, too. But besides the Milwaukee Brewers, who they have a plan, they operate, they do what they need to do, the rest of the division gets a "what is you doing, baby" from me. Like, what are we doing? For real. Where are the Chicago Cubs at? Like, what's their goal this next season? Is it to win the NL Central? Because I don't think they're going to come close to it unless they make some moves. The St. Louis Cardinals, which way are you going to go? You're going to trade Arenado? Are you going to try to get Sonny Gray out of there? Try to get him to waive his no trade too? Like, where are you going to go? You're moving Wilson Contreras to first base. Great. Like, what are you doing? What's the plan for 2025? The Cincinnati Reds, you were a flash in the pan. Like, you have all the talent in the world, apparently, but you need to add and supplement. So what are you doing? And then the Pittsburgh Pirates, you promised to go out and put people around Jared Jones and Paul Skeens and Mitch Keller, but you didn't. So, like, what are all these clubs doing? What is your plan for 2025? I really want to know, because I do like this division. I think it's one of the most fun divisions in baseball when the teams are competing. Right now, there's nobody competing. It's the Milwaukee Brewers and everybody else. So I want that division. Again, Cubs fans, great fans. Cardinals fans, great fans. Cincinnati, man, you saw them line up for Ellie De La Cruz's bobblehead. It was crazy. Pittsburgh deserves it. Like, these are good fan bases, so put something on the field for us. Like, go out and supplement, get better, please, because you owe it. I think they owe it to the fan bases. I really do.
You know what? Follow the tack that the Kansas City Royals took last year, where they significantly improved their team, and it paid off. Made it to the playoffs. For me, it's the Boston Red Sox. They only have four guys that are making serious money next year. It's Devers, Giolito, Yoshida, Story. Pivetta has not accepted the qualifying offer as of right now. A lot of their really good players are either just hitting arbitration like Duran and Houck, or guys that are pre-arb like Cassis, Crawford, Abreu, Wong. All those guys just going to get renewed. That's it. So you have some money to play with here.
Mm-hmm.
Like, their payroll is going to be like low hundreds as of right now. So go do something. You need to kind of revamp the entire bullpen. They're losing a lot of arms out of there. They will get Liam Hendricks back for a full season this year. That's nice, and they're not paying him a lot of money. I think they're paying him $6 million, but you need more help there. Tyler O'Neill is a free agent. He had a nice year for them last year, but it's not enough to say, hey, here comes this great farm system we've been talking about for the last, like, I don't know, year and a half, 2 years. That's not the Boston way. I think there's room to play with for them.
Yeah, I think they are going to be active in the offseason. I think they're going to be active in free agency. I think they might also look for some trades as well, because they do have a good farm system. And as I pointed out, I forget who the guy is. The guy writes for Yahoo Sports. I think it's Mike Vixa. I read an article about trades that he put out there, and he mentioned about how they're very, very left-handed heavy. So they can afford to trade some of those lefties, whether it's the guys that have already broke through in the big leagues or the prospects, bring in some different talent there. But I think they are poised to make some moves.
Okay, we'll see. There's something that we have talked about on this show that we both love, and it is True Classics. We have been wearing the True Classic tees. They are so comfortable. That's the number one thing about them that I love. Like, I told you last week, we got a package to the house. Michelle saw, oh my God, it's your True Classic stuff. She ripped it up, not ripped them up, but ripped it open and made me do a fashion show on the spot. You ask me, 53-year-old dad bod dude, to do a fashion show, and then she's sitting through the entire show without throwing up or leaving. That is an amazing thing. The T-shirts looked amazing, snug in the arms and chest, right, amount of room in the midsection for those of us that don't look like Trevor Plouffe. It actually makes you look and feel sexy. They've got fall and winter must-haves, long sleeves, waffle hoodies, jeans, button-ups, joggers, much more. And all the clothing can be mixed and matched. It's designed to work with your lifestyle so you can look and feel your best each and every day. Once again, they are super soft. They are ultra comfortable. They are perfect fitting as well. And with the holidays right around the corner, True Classics ultra comfortable, perfect fitting essentials make for the perfect gift for you and all the men in your life. So if you're ready to upgrade your closet, shop now, unlock big time savings during their huge holiday sale. Just go to our exclusive link, trueclassic.com/today. That is trueclassic.com/today. Support this show. Tell them that Baseball Today sent you. End the year with holiday cheer. Thanks to True Classic. You look sexy. All right, before we get out of here, Alex Vesia, latest guest on the Rose rotation, the world champion reliever of the Los Angeles Dodgers, told us a very funny anecdote about his old man.
So my dad is a big-time Yankee fan. Big time. When we played the Yankees, I think it was in July, that man wanted to wear half Dodger, half Yankee jersey. And I said, dude, if you do that, I am not getting you tickets to these games.
I love that.
How great is that, huh?
I love both sides of it because he's so right. But then also, Dad, like, that's what sports is all about, dude. Obviously, growing up being a Yankee fan, and all of a sudden, he's probably happy. Hey, you're playing for the Dodgers now. Don't really got to worry about it. Then they meet in the World Series, which is hilarious. I've never been like I've never rooted for a team like crazy like that. The only time I did was USC football. When I was fresh out of high school, I'd signed my letter of intent to go there. Had a scholarship, obviously passed it up to sign with the Twins, but I was big time into that program. It was huge. There was no other football team. There's no pro team for us, so I was very heavily invested in USC at that time. If I had like a son, if I was still feeling that invested in a team, and then Teddy all of a sudden wanted to play for UCLA, like, I don't know exactly how I would feel about it. Like, I was so into that program, and again, that's why sports are awesome. So I kind of get both sides here. I really do.
Yeah, right. Like, my kids often ask me, if I was drafted by the Pittsburgh Steelers, would you root for?
What would you do?
Like, oof.
It's tougher than you think, right?
It is harder. It is harder. Take the team you absolutely love. Like if Brady had been pitching against the Cleveland Guardians with a berth in the World Series on the line, I'd be like,
You're like, shoot, I've been a Guardians fan longer than I've been a Brady Rose's dad.
Exactly. So it's when you read it on paper, you're like, oh, of course I'm going to root for my kid. And then when you really think about it and you say it out loud, all of a sudden it kind of makes sense.
Yeah.
Go check out the Vesia combo. He was very, very good and entertaining and energetic, and I dig him. I'd never met him before, and I thought he was really, really good. Don't forget, Blitzball Battle 5, Game 5 tonight, 7:30. We will see you in the chat, Warehouse Games channel. We are back at it again on Friday. This week, we're going 3 episodes. We're going to do a special preview edition, so make sure you tune in. And thanks again for making us part of your content team throughout the baseball offseason. For our one-of-a-kind producer, Dan Rourke, the uber-talented Trevor Plouffe, I am Chris Rose. We will see you Friday here on Baseball Today.